If you're wondering what is Sandbox, we are here because tomorrow is the D-Day of Sandbox and we have some information about Sandbox to explain to you.
Exactly, and with tomorrow being the D-Day of Phuket's reopening to foreign tourists, we will be giving you a recap of what Phuket Sandbox is all about and what you really need to know about this scheme. So Phuket Sandbox is the initiative to reopen the resort island to international visitors with no quarantine needed. May I repeat, no quarantine needed. And visitors still have to be fully vaccinated and they must pass a virus test after arriving at the airport. Foreign travelers planning a trip to Phuket must get certificates of entry from Thai embassies or consulates and register through this website www.entrythailand.go.th.
So upon arrival, they will have to undergo normal immigration procedures, install the Mochana contact tracing app, English version is available, and Thailand Plus app, and take a COVID-19 test. They can then check into the SHA Plus certified hotel, the local we call it Cha Plus. And as soon as the test come back negative, they can leave the hotel and travel anywhere on Phuket.
And foreign tourists who book a long stay will be required to take another COVID-19 test on the 6th or the 7th day of their stay and a third test on the day 12th or 13th of their stay. And after 14 days and 3 negative tests, they can travel to any other parts of Thailand. However, if they spend fewer than 2 weeks in Phuket, they must leave through a direct flight only.
Yes, but there are still a few things to keep in mind. First of all, the number of people vaccinated in Phuket. Although Phuket has the highest percentage compared to other provinces in Thailand, with up to 70% of its population that receive at least the first dose, less than half have had their second dose. This means that they are not fully inoculated against hospitalization caused by the virus and its variants yet.
Another thing we have to keep in mind is that the number of new infections are still increasing in Thailand. Therefore, there have been concerns that the Phuket Sandbox may carry significant risks. So authorities have drawn up guidelines on danger signals that should trigger action. For example, if the scheme will be curbed, suspended, or canceled if the number of new infections in the province rises above 90 per week, if the infections are reported in all the districts of Phuket or more than 6 sub-districts, if there are more than 3 clusters of infections, and if COVID-19 spreads widely, if the hospital bed occupancy rate rises over 80%, and if a variant spreads uncontrollably.
So authorities can impose 4 measures in response to these danger signals. Reduce tourist activities, use sealed routes for tourists, implement hotel quarantine, or cancel the Phuket Sandbox altogether. This will depend on how serious the situation becomes. But as we talked to the governor just several days ago, the governor said that right now they are focused on how to prevent Phuket from having to close again after this reopening.
Exactly, and recently the Thai government has also finalized the requirements of the entry of fully vaccinated foreign tourists as well as Thai returnees without entering quarantine through the Phuket Sandbox project. So according to the announcement that is published by the Royal Gazette yesterday, the requirements are avoid high COVID-19 risk and communal areas for 40 days prior to arrival. And apart from this, they should also come from a list of permitted countries or territories and have stayed in that particular country for at least 21 days before arrival, with the exception of those who are returning and having departed from Thailand to one of the permitted countries.
So there are 63 countries and 3 territories deemed at low to medium risk of COVID-19 spread, which are on the permitted list. Low-risk areas, according to the Public Health Ministry, as of mid-June, are Albania, Andorra, Antigua, Barbuda, Austria, Australia, Azerbaijan, Barbados, Brunei, Cambodia, Croatia, Cyprus, Czech Republic, Dominica, Hong Kong, Iceland, Israel, Luxembourg, Macau, Malta, Monaco, Morocco, Mauritius, right?
Yep.
New Zealand, Norway, Qatar, San Marino, Singapore, Slovenia, Taiwan, and Vietnam.
And those who wish to travel to Phuket, they must also register themselves upon arrival at entrythailand.go.th. And they also must present a certificate of entry or COE. So the registration for this one is available at coethailand.mfa.go.th. And they should also present a medical certificate issued no more than 72 hours before departure, indicating the result of a laboratory RT-PCR test showing that COVID-19 was not detected.
They have to have travel insurance with health and COVID-19 coverage for the entire stay in Thailand worth at least $100,000. They have to have evidence of a SHA Plus hotel prepaid booking for at least 14 days and return flight tickets for those who stay in Thailand fewer than 14 days. It has to be in 14 days because the requirement is you have to stay at the same hotel on Phuket Island for 14 days. So they have to have certificate of vaccination with 2 full doses or 1 dose if it's Johnson & Johnson. It should no less than 14 days before departure. The vaccine must be approved by Thailand's Food and Drug Administration and or the World Health Organization for emergency use.
And most importantly, they must also stay on the island for at least 14 days before being allowed to travel elsewhere in Thailand. And those staying in Thailand for fewer than 14 days are not allowed to travel elsewhere within the country.